How you doing, people? Hope you're well. My name is Duncan Walsh. What have we got today? Okay, today I've given myself quite a tough one. I'm going to do 100 6-count burpees, and then I'm going to do 100 5-pump Navy SEALs, that's the double Navy SEALs, with a heels to backside jump. Not sure how long it's going to take. Let's get it done. Okay, so just minutes before I started this, it started to rain, and it had rained earlier, so the grass was really wet. And I'm just realizing that if you're going to do a lot of repetitive burpees, you really need your surface to be right, because I was slipping all over the place here, especially once the bottom of my shoes had got a little bit slimy. I've been in that situation before with a yoga mat that doesn't absorb the sweat, but I thought I was okay on the grass as I'd done it before and I was fine. But in the wet, it's a different ball game. But interestingly, it makes it physically harder because you're tensing more every time you need a sort of a stable position. So you start to think, hang on, I'm going at a slower pace here, yet it feels harder, which I guess actually is a good form of overload, but it does make for a more frustrating sort of experience if you're not comfortable in your stability and you feel like you're slipping. Interested to see what people out there generally do. I do see people with towels down for their hands, but I can imagine they still move about a little bit or sort of crumple up. Anyway, went at a steady pace with these. I knew I was going to be doing the 100 double Navy SEALs with the jump. They were coming up. I think I will soon have a go at a speedier session though of just these 6 counts. One thing that I do see a lot of people doing generally in training is that steady pace session, which over time or years, I guess, gets slower and slower. And I've always been a big advocate of some sort of speed or power injection into your workouts. They do help raise your crucial VO2 max. It's such a crucial parameter of fitness and health. VO2 max used to be a term only really used in sort of sports science type conversations really, but it's getting more and more into general conversation. A friend of mine used to work in cardiac rehabilitation. In other words, he would rehabilitate people who'd had heart attacks back into exercise. And he said that one of the worst things to affect a person's VO2 max detrimentally was bed rest, too much bed rest. He said people's VO2 max and their cardio system would just plummet if they had too much bed rest. So you had to get them up and moving as soon as possible, because once your VO2 max goes very, very low, the next stage was basically death. So VO2 max is now being regarded as the single biggest parameter in determining longevity. There is actually a new study out from researchers at the University of Cambridge in the UK, and they investigated whether it might be possible to use AI and machine learning to develop a model that could use data from everyday activity to predict VO2 max rather than from their workouts. So they've got to try and accurately predict it, obviously. And they've been doing a lot of work on it. And okay, so get this, people. They concluded that a low VO2 max is a stronger predictor of mortality than traditional clinical risks such as diabetes, hypertension, or smoking. So VO2 max is basically more important than the effects of diabetes, hypertension, or smoking. So this is one of the reasons why I'm such a big advocate of getting that intensity there versus too many steady sessions. Although it is easy to let those more intense sessions slip. And of course the whole session doesn't need necessarily to be intense. If you have short bursts to get your heart rate up, followed by a recovery period. So yesterday I did my standard hill sprint session, which is just 3 reps actually, but it's a pretty steep hill, very steep really. And the point I stop at is about 300 meters. Then I turn around and jog slowly back down. So it's a recovery of about 3 minutes. And the effort up the hill, anywhere from about a minute to 1 minute 20. 1 minute 20 would be slow, but it may be the case on the 3rd set, or depending on the other training I've done, etc. But this session has got to be the most intense cardio I do, especially if you go hard on each one. Mind you, if I compare to 30 years ago, my times were almost half that. I remember one session where I did a 51, a 49 and a 47 with a quick recovery. So again, it's a different planet. Of course, that happens when you're younger and if you're full-time training. During COVID, I did do these a little more regularly, and I got close to 3 times 1 minute for each uphill sprint. Oh, it's not quite a sprint, but track running sort of pace. And yesterday my times were okay, but I find those are a bigger source of getting VO2 max higher than the burpees, which are a little more muscular, shall we say, but still great to have as part of your workouts, of course. But I think it's also good to construct something that has speed and intensity in there as well. I mean, steady sessions are also important, but the trick is recognizing if too many of your sessions are just steady sessions, because in the background then your VO2 max is slowly creeping down. So the double Navy Seals that I got onto, double Navy Seals with the jump, the heels to backside jump, I did them at about 3 per minute rate, so one takes about 10 seconds and then 10 seconds rest. After 50 sets I had 1 minute and then did another 50 sets, and on the last minute I pushed to get 5 sets in there. Then after a few more minutes I finished on some leg work, or more intense leg work shall we say, a minute squat jumps, then 1 minute's rest and 1 minute star jumps. The lactic in the legs and glutes just goes to a different level then, as does the cardio. So for me, that's my sort of pushing the VO2 max section at the end, if you will. I'd highly recommend to people who practice just burpees that when the session's finished, just do a couple of sets of something like that, a minute on, a minute off, to get that extra spice in the legs and help push up that VO2 max. Remember, the more efficient your cardio is, the more efficiently you'll get rid of lactic acid, so that'll carry over to your burpee training anyway. Okay, so anyway, those are my ramblings for today. So take care, people, and we will speak soon. timing there. I'm going to do the usual minutes lunge jumps, minutes rest, minutes squat jumps, minutes rest, minutes heel to backside burpees, minutes rest, and minutes star jumps. Lie down, go to sleep.
vibing.
I've been coming up hot for a minute. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. I drop the top when I'm in it. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. Yeah, I go so yo. Everybody know I'm on. You know when they click through to the send it's about to be a show, be fun. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. Drop the top when I'm in it. Everybody drop when I'm in it. Yeah, I go so yo. Everybody know I'm on. You know when they click through to the send it's about to be a I've been coming up hot for a minute. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. I drop the top when I'm in it. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. Yeah, I go so yo. Everybody know I'm on. You know when they click through to the send it's about to be a show, be fun. I've been coming up hot for a minute. You'll be fine. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. Drop the top when I'm in it. Everybody drop when I'm in it. Yeah, I go so yo. Everybody know I'm on. You know when they click through to the send it's about to be a run. Let's go. What up?
Okay, I think that's what you call a doozy, whatever a doozy is. Write in the comments below. Yeah, the legs at the end just send the lactic into a whole new planet, really. But when it's just a minute, the end is sort of in sight, you know. Anyway, keep training hard, keep Keep resting hard as well. Next video's on pros and cons of training every day and rest, or lack thereof. Yeah, so see you in the next one.